Well, hey everyone, it's Marcus, and welcome to more chatting in my jungle room. Hey, I'm speaking to an Australian music icon. She's a legend. She's a country superstar. Please, everyone, welcome Beccy Cole. Becky, hey, how are you today?
I'm really well, thank you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, and congratulations, 6 days in to the release of the brand new album. Of course, it's called Through the Haze. We're going to unpack all of it. But first of all, how have you found the reception to it?
Oh, look, it's been great. It's the reviews that I've read so far have been really good, and people have been listening to it and giving me their feedback on the songs. And it's always a nerve-wracking time when you put new music out. You don't know if anyone's going to like it as much as you think you do. So far, so good. Appreciate it.
Oh my God, it's incredible. And we're going to talk about some of the songs very shortly. But I know you're about to do a New South Wales tour, with some various dates over there. But then there is talk of an imminent Australian tour, which is going to include pretty much everywhere, I hope.
Absolutely, yeah. And touring's something that I love. I've done it since I was a kid, basically, in my mum's band when I was many, many years ago. So I love it. I love getting on stage. I love performing live. And probably until this last experience making this record in the studio, being live and being in front of an audience is my favorite place to be. But making this record and surrounding myself with all the right people in the right studio and, with all of the stars aligning, that was a great experience too, I have to say.
Well, you've probably answered my next question, and that was going to be, where do you feel you come alive most of all? Like, where do you feel more natural and comfortable? Is it writing the songs? Is it recording the songs or performing the songs on stage?
Well, yeah, definitely this time around. I mean, I do love being on stage. I love performing. I love a big event, but I also love, more of an intimate sort of setting. I love a full band. I love an acoustic show. I love, it's the storytelling aspect that I love, have always loved about this genre. So for me, I think this time around, this studio experience and getting to, I wrote and recorded the songs really quickly. Like I wasn't sitting on these songs for years and years. In fact, a couple of them I wrote like literally days before going into the studio, and
Wow.
I knew what I wanted to say, and I knew kind of the feels that I wanted, and it all just kind of fell together, and I guess in a way formed its own theme.
Mm.
And I think to me the album is more of a finding your power album than it is about, reflection on dark times, but there is an element of that.
Oh, well, we all need that content for a bit of lyric writing, don't we?
Yeah, well, that's right. They say, especially country music, that a bit of heartbreak and devastation, and you got yourself a song at least.
After listening to the album a good couple of times now, I feel like you've somehow found my diary and poured my heart into a lot of your lyrics. Like, oh, I knew I should have locked that up.
You are, that's a really lovely thing to say that you could relate because I think, my heart's on my sleeve with this one, but at the same time, I really, I love writing songs and I'm not scared at this age, having done it for a long time. I'm not worried about letting, the insides of my heart being on display, I suppose. So that part of it, and I've had so much therapy between writing the last album and this one that uh, writing songwriting in itself is therapy. But I've had kind of proper therapy, I suppose you could say. And there's some pearls of wisdom, and then it's just you add the honesty. They say country music, three chords in the truth. There's a few more than three chords in some of these songs, but it is the truth.
Hey, 1997, Beccy Cole self-titled album came out. So we're just shy of 30 years actively in the
Well,
industry.
yeah.
Like, where did that time go? Hold up, right? Hold up. Um, and 2018, the previous album came out, which was Lioness. Obviously, a lot has gone on in your life, personal and, well, just life in general, I guess. I mean, COVID happened as well. But did you really need to just like sit back for a while and just process life as it was before this album came out?
I think so. And, in that time, in the 7 years between Lioness and this one, I did put out an album with Adam Harvey, a collaboration album called, I think it was The Great Country Songbook, Volume 3, Volume 1 of which he did with Troy Cassadaly, and I did 2 and 3 with him. And that was like a bunch of songs that we loved. And we took that on the road. And that was really him saying, stop staying in bed, come out on the road with me, let's put this album out. So he was sort of twisting my arm and getting me back into the land of the living, which I appreciate from him. He's a really good mate and a great artist. So I have recorded in that time, but yeah, I think I needed to reflect on, a fairly big breakup, a marriage breakup, not my first marriage breakup. So that sucked, having to go through that again. And it was worse than the first one. So it was, and it was really hard because I felt like that knock kind of knocked me to the brink, and to come back from that, I didn't know, I didn't see a way back from that at all. And I think my journey on the path back from that has been so enlightening that I needed to report on that with these songs. So yeah, in a way, it has been a long time. I mean, COVID was in there, and that knocked everyone in the arts for a six, and especially doing what we do. The longest break, I'm such a gig pig, and have been since I was 13, that the longest break I ever had, I think I was on stage 8.5 months pregnant, and I took a 2-week-old on the road. And then COVID was the next, and he's just turned 27. So, and so now I know what to do with a weekend off, whereas I didn't, I never used to know what to do if somebody gave me a weekend off.
Do you think, was there a period, Becky, that during that COVID period, during that very public breakup that occurred, was there a period where you were just kind of like, I think I just want to go away and just get a regular job where nobody knows me?
Yeah, there probably was, but I don't have a qualification to do anything else. But also, and I was doing radio at the time, and have only just given up my radio gig at ABC. I was doing that for 5 years as a bit of a side hustle, I suppose, and something that I loved. And music, was a lot to do with that, and it kept up my curiosity for music. But yeah, there was a time when I didn't want to be in the public eye, but I didn't want to be anywhere. I didn't want to be here. Is the reality of it, unfortunately. But yeah, I couldn't see myself back on stage. I think that's why I called the album Through the Haze, because the first vision I had when I could see a little light at the end of the tunnel, and everything was foggy and hazy, and as it is, anyone that's been through, this that kind of mental illness will know. The first thing I could see when I was working out what I wanted, I had my little therapy dog Patsy, who's got me through. Obviously, my friends, but then the audience, I could see them through the haze, and I thought, wow. And I'm talking this collective, amazing amount of love that I've felt for the last 30 plus years since that first record and then some.
Mm.
And I could I could see them as a collective, looking back at me and still wanting me to do it. And that drive was just like, okay, baby steps. And people used to say just one day at a time, one day at a time. But it became 1 hour at a time, half an hour at a time, and but I was at least going in the right direction. And I think people that have gone to the brink like I did will know what I'm talking about. As crazy as it sounds, people say you only had a breakup. What why did you want to top yourself? Well, I couldn't see life any differently at the time. I didn't have a reason. It's really hard to talk about that now because I'm so full of life and so full of love and so full of gratitude, that it's really sort of hard to look back on that time and go, I was there.
But you
Mm.
know what, Becky? I mean, your honesty as a human being, and I mean, I can tell obviously with this interview because this is the first time we've ever done an interview together. But I mean, you're such an honest, authentic person that tells it like it is, heart on the sleeve, and that is what all of your fans connect with. This truth and honesty of you as a beautiful human being. Um, Hey, let's go way back to the beginning. When you were first a kid, listening to music and all that, who were you listening to at the time that really inspired your career into this industry?
They were the storytellers. I think that's what I loved. As a kid, you love a story, and country music has always told stories. So we're talking really early Dolly Parton, Emmylou Harris,
Mm.
and that in the female world. And then John Prine as a writer was always amazing. I remember the first John Prine song I heard was Paradise, and then I heard Speed of the Sound of Loneliness. And then I think in the mid '70s, I remember hearing John Prine do his own version of I think Bonnie Raitt made Angel from Montgomery
Yeah.
um, famous as well. And I loved those stories, and I loved that you could somehow relate to them. I mean, even as a kid, I didn't know exactly always what they were talking about, but they just got to the heart of me. And I love telling stories. And it took me a long time to marry myself as a songwriter with being. So I told their stories for a while. I would sing covers, and now I consider myself more of a singer-songwriter, and have the ability to be able to get this stuff that I see around me, whether it's telling someone else's story or, taking my environment or delving into my heart and telling those stories. But definitely it was the storytelling aspect and that very literal way of telling a story, finding metaphors, but also there's no real look for the hidden meaning. It's Keith Urban calls it see truck, say truck. It's you're not look.
Totally. Oh, you said Bonnie Raitt before. I fell in love with Bonnie Raitt way back when she brought out that track. Let's give them something to talk about.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
yeah, me too. Yeah, and that same album, there was Papa Come Quick and all those great songs on that album. I mean, she's still such a legend and still bringing us great music. She won a Grammy year before last,
Yeah.
and I just love that old school approach and always have. And I think the opportunity that radio has given me to remain curious about other people's music, because we can get caught up in our own crap, and our own egos and the music that we're doing. But if you stop listening to other people, then your artistry is going to suffer for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hey, 13 odd albums down the track now. Obviously, this one's just been out for almost a week, just shy of a week. Um, like l Musically, we know that you're brilliant, a brilliant musician. We know that you're an incredible vocalist. Lyrically, just on a whole nother level again. Like this album, like really goes through so much content that you've been through recently. I've got so many bangers, and it's really hard for me to say what was my one that really drew me in straight away. But I mean, Too Broken, incredible. Shit Magnet, love. Like I'm gonna get that put on a t-shirt, darling. Trust me.
I've
Um,
got t-shirts. I'll send you one.
my God, I need. Porcupine Sober is phenomenal. I See You Now is just like it breaks my heart. And Elizabeth, like, did you have to change the name? Is the person's real name Elizabeth?
Yeah, look, yes it is, but it's a different spelling. So there's my license there. Look,
That was
uh,
great.
some names just sing really well. I remember going to see Sierra Farrell, and she sings a great song called Jeremiah, and I love the way that name sings in a song. And oh look, that song just came out, and like I said, it's the truth, and it's my version,
Yeah.
and yeah, so
Because
it
this
is.
album, oh, sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead, please.
Because this album is really, really personal, prob in my estimation, and I could be well wrong, but in my estimation, one of the most personal albums, because you really dragged from trauma with a lot of the lyric writing. Are there any songs on this album that you would have trouble performing live, do you think?
No, I think in fact, this is probably at the moment, the show has more songs from this album than I have in the past. Normally you'd go sort of four or five, maybe half the album, but I'm definitely at the moment doing, because with such a back catalogue, you want to be able to do songs that people might expect you to do from the past. But this one, I'm just loving doing a lot of them. There's a few I haven't done yet.
Yep.
But I loved the treatment of it, and I loved, the guitar work that's on this from Jules Parker is it was like having Derek Trucks play on your album or something. She's incredible, and she gave the album this tone that and it's just got such grit. And she helped me tell my story, but she's one of my best friends, so she knows my story so well. And I think I can hear that in her playing. So when she takes over and does a solo, when I've stopped singing and telling the story, her guitar work takes over and tells the story just as intensely. Like her solo in I See You Now it tells as much as the words do, and I love that about that. So yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with playing any of these songs live.
Yep.
Other people might, but
Have you got a personal favorite? I mean, I know they're all your children, of course, but have you got a personal favorite because it speaks most to your heart off the
I
album?
think I think the gardener and the flower to me, even though it's about secure attachment. I mean, if you're talking therapy terms, it's about two people that have worked out how to make a relationship work, right? And that's the irony there is that I haven't been able to be successful in that, but it shows that I do have that opportunity, and because I know how it works, and that's therapy has helped me with that. It reminds me of my grandparents I only lost my grandma a couple of years ago at nearly 104,
Wow.
and I was 50 when I lost my grandma, and they loved gardening as well. I had a song on an album years ago called Gloria's Roses, and grandma was Gloria. So I think that song, and I think the one you mentioned before, Too Broken, which is the last track on the album, I think, and that's about a smaller breakup, like not the big one, the marriage breakup, but Too Broken. Uh, it goes to show to me that I do have the ability to sit down and have a cup of tea or a beer with someone that it didn't work out with, but we'll be all right. And I have lots of exes that are friends. My ex-husband being one of them, the father of my child, we're good mates. We were just texting before actually, and he plays fiddle on this record. And so I love anything that proves that I can, that I can have a respectful uncoupling, even though some of these songs are about someone that didn't have that respect for me or for the history that we had. And that sounds like I've got bitterness. I actually don't. I'm actually, I needed to write these songs and get it out of my system, and I enjoy singing them, and I enjoy when people can find themselves in my songs as well.
I did it. I found myself in a
I
lot
love
of
that.
really beautiful. I mean, one of these days, darling, we're going to sit down and have a little cup of tea together and we can talk about relationships. I can give you,
Yeah, I love that.
when you run out of content, I've got a shitload more for you. All right.
All right, let's do it.
Um, hey, collaboratively, you've worked with a lot of people and a lot of people that, are just so well respected in the industry as you are. Is there someone still on your wish list that you haven't worked with that you would still absolutely love to do?
That's a really great question. I think it would depend on what the collaboration was. I'm not very good at co-writing because I tend to clam up, and that's why all of these songs, except for one, are 100% written by me. And that's not because I'm trying to be some sort of hero. I just feel like I can't express myself in the room with someone else. It has to be someone that I know really well, who I'm really close to, and I'm talking, like Lynn Botel, who has one co-write on this record in the past. I've been able to write well with Casey Chambers, whose studio I made this album in because we're best mates, kind of grew up together. But I think more like getting an opportunity to sing a song with somebody. I would love to do that. I mean, there's a lot of amazing artists in my genre who I just love. Whether or not, I think I'd just like to sit on the side of the stage and watch them and have a beer with them rather than get to sing. But, people like Lainey Wilson and Chris Stapleton, you know, he's got an incredible voice. And a lot of those singer-songwriters that are just, incredible. Brandy Clark is another one who I love, Brandy Carlisle.
Mm.
So yeah, there's a bunch who I just absolutely adore. Whether or not the actual collaboration I think would come about, I just a good hang,
Yeah.
and get into their psyche would be fun.
Well, let's give Dolly Parton a call and let's see if Dolly's available for something. All right, see how we go. I
Why
don't
not?
promise anything.
She would be number one. I've had an opportunity on 3 occasions to meet her, and she never disappoints. She's just so lovely and such a beautiful human. And you worry about meeting your heroes, but she's incredible.
Mm. Hey, outside of the country music genre, what other styles do you really love getting into? Like, if there was a gig on somewhere in Adelaide today, what kind of gig would you love to get to?
Oh, look, I love a bit of hard rock. I've always been so I haven't missed, except for the last one, I haven't missed an AC/DC tour in my lifetime. So I love anything with a good rhythm, you know. I've always been a Barnsey fan, unapologetically. I've always loved pretty much everything he does, even when he went across to doing a bit of soul stuff and everything. I just love him. And, Australian wise, of course, who doesn't love John Farnham? Massive fan. And I was always of that era of women, Wendy Matthews, I just absolutely have adored.
Yeah.
And probably the biggest band that I absolutely loved and have read her book several times back to front, the Divinals, Chrissy Amphlett. What she did for Australian rock, but also for females, her attitude, and she never let the fact that she was female, at a time when it did kind of matter to others. It didn't matter to her. She was just unapologetically who she was, and her attitude is definitely one that I have been influenced by, for sure.
You know what? Thank goodness that you made it through this little wilderness that you have had to go through the last few years, because your story is inspiring so many people. And I know this album will inspire and motivate many people as well, both male and female, of course.
Thank you. That's
Um,
beautiful to say.
so,
Thank you.
thank goodness for the artists, right? Because it actually makes us feel not alone anymore. And you've
Yeah, that's
got a
true.
massive part to play in that.
Thank you.
Um, hey, I wish you all the best with this incredible album, and I just hope it gets so many bloody ARIA awards next time ARIA awards come around. I'll be nominating, don't you worry.
Woo!
I'll be voting. But hey, and look, obviously have fun with the New York. Look at me
Woo!
on tour across the world. Have fun with the New South Wales tour, and I cannot even wait to hear of the Australian tour.
Thank
But
you.
as we go out, my dear Beccy Cole, all right. Um, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. You're all Miss Drunky Pants. We end up at a karaoke bar. What is your karaoke go-to song?
Oh, straight off the bat, I'm going to say Pat Benatar, "Hit Me With Your Best Shot."
Ah,
Let's do
there we
it.
go.
Let's do
Right.
it.
That's our anthem, baby. That's our anthem. Beccy Cole, what an absolute pleasure chatting to you. And I look forward to seeing you on tour, hopefully very soon.
Thank you so much. Lovely to chat.